Do you guys hear that?
Is that boss music?
Go naked and just go with the sword, and that's it.
What do I do with all this?
It says it in the title.
I'm a slut for roguelites.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Unearthing Games Podcast. I am your lead excavator today. My name's Erica, and today I'm also joined by Nick.
Howdy.
And we dig games. So, what have you been up to this week, Nick?
This week? Well, honestly, not a whole lot as far as gaming is concerned, which kind of is a bit disappointing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Work's been a bit busy. I mean, probably nowhere near as busy as you, but busy. I played the game I'm going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
The board game we talked about arrived, and we had a chance to play it, which was just a ton of fun.
Yes.
I got all my stuff to try out resin casting for dice. So
Okay.
That's kind of gaming related. I haven't had a chance to actually try it yet.
Yeah, we're still in our saga of building workbenches for the garage.
It's turned into a nightmare. But
The first one worked out so well, and then the second one was just like, nah, I'm wobbly.
It's a straight up Disney sequel. It is awful, but
yeah, it's frustrating. We'll figure it out.
It'll be great. Yeah, I was gonna wait until we got the workbenches up to test out casting things in resin, because like I got some cheap resin casts on Amazon. Just because I just wanted to goof off with it and see what I could make and stuff like that. Like maybe someday we'll get our own custom dice, because I can't sell these. These are clearly someone's knockoffs, you know?
Yeah.
But I could like make myself dice and maybe Jacob, you know, for funsies.
Yeah. As long as you're not selling them.
No, yeah. So I just wanted to try it out. I see people do it online and I'm like, that looks so cool. I want to make my own fancy dice.
Yeah.
So I got resin epoxy stuff. Also, I wanted to try out, you found a cool idea where you take the little cardboard pegels.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what you call the little cardboard tokens that come with
like
games.
Pogs.
Yeah. Like in my head, I think of like Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel. Like, you know, the money, it's like
The
cardboard.
coins. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cardboard coins, which is cool and all, but like, I mean, if they get wet, they're screwed. But you found it really cool online I wanted to try out, where someone took resin and they used like a dropper, and they just dropped some on top of it to make a very like thin veneer of resin.
Yeah.
And it basically turns your cardboard pegels into like nice little resin tokens.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds amazing. And so I found there were some throwaway cardboard pieces from Wingspan.
Yes, from the birdhouse.
From the birdhouse,
yeah.
Yes, they popped out the little bird holes, and I was like, let's keep these. And so I want to try that out so we can see about, because man, if this works, we're gonna have a field day. We have so many games with little pegels. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm probably using the
it'll be
wrong
crazy.
word, but pegels is the only thing that comes to mind right now.
I just keep thinking of the Xbox game Peggle with the marbles.
Yeah, that one. Such a great game. But that's what I've been up to this week. My entire life this week has been, I'm going to call it the planning phase. Because I'm not actually doing anything. But I make lots of plans. Lots of plans.
Yeah. I get that. I've been pretty much doing the same thing. I think I might have played a game of Retropolis, and then I went over to my parents' house, and I had my tablet, so I was trying to do the whole Xbox Game Pass Anywhere thing, right? Where you can play games anywhere. And it didn't work out quite well on the tablet. I don't know if it was the internet or my tablet was just slow, but I was trying to basically play oh my god, what are they called? Your favorite types of games?
Roguelites?
Yes, a roguelike.
What are you playing?
And the controls didn't work very well on the touchscreen. So.
That could be a thing. I think if I remember correctly, I think all of their like mobile cloud gaming stuff is still in beta.
Yeah.
Because like I will say, like I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll say it 1,000 times, hand on the Bible kind of thing. The Game Pass stuff for PC and for console, just so amazing. Like I love it when I could sit here on my computer and play some Celeste die 50 to 60 times in a level. And then it's like, hey, Erica, you want to watch me die? And I'll go over to the couch and we'll play it on the TV and die another 50 or 60 times on the same save file. And it's wonderful.
So, like, we don't have that issue, though, because we do have the Steam Link Pi set up that was, like, at the beginning of this podcast. We had an issue with setting that up.
Yeah, that was a nightmare, but we fixed it.
Yeah, we fixed it. So, I mean, that hasn't been an issue. I feel like what I really want is, like, I really wanted to play, like, just an easy game like Slay the Spire or Retropolis or something, or even Dwarf Romantic, where it's just, like, just a chill, a chill, relaxing type game. But, like, I can't play my Steam games when I'm not at home. So.
Yeah, that's
what I want. And yeah, I guess a gaming laptop is an option, but I just spent so much money making this computer.
No, like, it's not the same. Like, you'd have to go and buy yourself, like, one of those really nice, like, Microsoft Surface guys or something, where it's kind of a tablet, kind of a laptop.
Yeah.
But then it's like you said, you did just build a Cadillac gaming PC.
I know, and that's what's upsetting because we're planning a trip
cross country
soon, hopefully. And yeah, fingers crossed. And, like, what about, like, downtime, like at the hotel? Like, what if I want to just play some Dwarf Romantic or something? I don't know. That's just me. Like I said, I think it was the first time that I've been away from my gaming PC since I got like everything done and I got my graphics card and everything. And I was like, you know what? I just want to relax and play a game. It's nighttime, everyone's going to sleep. I'm still kind of awake. Let me play a game real quick. And it was just like, I can't play anything. My computer's not here.
We'll have to do some research. There's got to be a way to play your Steam titles from a mobile device outside of your home network.
Or I could just buy a laptop. I mean,
well, I mean, for the road trip, what we'll have to do is we'll just have to pick out a lot of our small board games, card games, and take them with us.
Yeah, we'll see. I was alone, so
just like Thomas.
Yeah, and I did have Solitaire on my tablet, so I did play that, but but that's different. I wanted to play like I said, some Dwarf Romantic or Retropolis or Slay the Spire or something, and it's just like, oh, your PC's not here. Maybe you should travel with him. It's like, it's a lot.
You can be one of those people that puts like the hardcore handle on top of your case and just haul it around with you,
Oh my god, no. But yeah.
You would have such crazy biceps. But
I could not do that. That is way too heavy. You have to move it for me when I need to have it moved.
I'll get crazy biceps.
But yeah, so that's the only one thing. So I guess I'll have to start saving up for a laptop at some point.
Honestly, it probably wouldn't hurt. I think both of our previous laptops, we're no longer a laptop household. I think all of our laptops outside of work stuff have died.
Yeah, my laptop I got as a graduation gift from high school from my parents for college, and that was a while ago. So I'm not going to age myself. It was a while ago. So yeah, he no longer works, sadly.
Yeah, and the power charger on my guy, he was a really great laptop. He had his own graphics card built in and everything. Yeah. But the power charger spot busted. Yeah, and I even went to a tech and he was like, "Can't fix it, man. Sorry."
Yeah, and I was even using that at the beginning of this podcast. We were playing games on Tabletop Sim, and then I was using that laptop because I hadn't built my PC yet, and then he died.
It was really sad.
It was upsetting.
But so we don't have a laptop anymore. So we'll have to start looking into that and seeing. I want to help because Lord knows I'll probably wind up trying to use it too if we travel,
Yeah. Anyway, off of that tangent, let's get into the games we played this week.
Yes, let's do it.
What did you play this week, Nick?
This week, I played the relatively new Evil Genius 2: World Domination. So, I honestly had never heard of this game until we saw Tom of the Yogscast play it.
Yeah.
And he was like sponsored and stuff like that. Because I guess Evil Genius is a really old game. Like, we're talking like 90s PC game kind of thing.
Oh, really?
I think. I could be really wrong, and I'm going to Google it right now because I feel bad. Or I could just look it up on Steam. Let me see.
Yeah, Evil Genius.
Evil Genius. It came out in... Okay. Not
2004.
90s.
Yeah.
2004, so practically a 90s game.
It looks like a 90s game.
But... So Evil Genius 2 World Domination. The tags for this guy on Steam are strategy, simulation, base building. So, in case you couldn't guess, this is about managing a base.
Yeah.
The whole premise of the game is that you are basically a supervillain. Think like classic James Bond movies, where like secret agent takes on like, what was the guy's name, like Blofeld or something like that, where he was like, I'm going to take over the world, and he pets his like fluffy white cat and stuff, You're that guy. You're Blofeld. And so basically you start off and like you just have a little rinky-dink lair with like a hallway. Like you've like purchased a deserted island, like it used to be an island resort kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
You bought this to be your new lair. And so you have a whole bunch of like minions that you set to work building things. And so it's all just about managing your base. It's really kind of crazy about how for a game called Evil Genius, there's not a lot of evil that you actually do. You mostly just manage a base.
Yeah.
So you build out different rooms for your minions. You have to basically create things that let you basically hatch plots across the world. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of there's like a world map screen where you can go and pick different quests, right? Because you have to make money. And so how do villains make money? They like rob banks and run shell companies and I don't know, pyramid schemes and stuff. And so you have to go and say like, all right, I want y'all to rob an armored car and, get me $10,000. And so they'll go and you have to send like 4 minions out to go and do it. And they'll go make you money. And so you're constantly hatching little schemes to go and do stuff, but you never actually go and do any of that. Your minions go and hop in a helicopter and they leave the lair.
Yeah.
And sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. I mean, that's just the nature of being evil, I guess.
Yeah.
But so basically, you just make a base. It has a whole bunch of different ways that things work. There's like main objectives the game has you go for. Because, of course, the name of the game is literally world domination. Mm-hmm. So your goal is to take over the world. And so the story quest line in the beginning, it has like your guy's like, I'm going to go into politics and I'll convince the world to elect me president of the world. And that's like the first series of objectives. Mm-hmm. And then when it's done, your minions are like, sir, it seems that no matter how much money you offer them, the world will not elect you president. And he's like, this is proof politics is rigged. And so after that, it gets more ridiculous, and he starts making like doomsday weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
It gets a little crazy. I have not finished it, so I won't lie. I've sunk a good flipping 50, 60 hours into this game.
Really?
I played it a lot. At least 30, okay?
Okay.
at the very least 30, because I did play it for an entire day straight. That day you were visiting your parents.
Yeah.
Like, I had breakfast and was like, I think I'll go play a little bit of Evil Genius for the podcast, yeah. Next thing I know, it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I should order dinner. What am I doing? So it's a big time sink. There's always something to do. You're constantly planning out your lair and trying to manage your income and your ingoing and outgoing finances. You can hire different types of minions. So like, you can train your minions to be different types of minions. Uh-huh. So you hire just a bunch of like rinky-dink, like they all have yellow jumpsuits and they do whatever. They do work. They fight good guys. They do whatever you need them to do.
Good guys. They're bad guys. You are the good guy in your own story.
They fight justice. There you go. The evil villain constantly talks throughout the thing, and he'll be like, the forces of justice are here! And stuff like that, So you're constantly fighting the forces of justice. It's really great. You run a cover operation, so you have like a resort/casino that you're running as a cover, and boats come and drop tourists off, and you make money off the tourists, and it's great. But among the tourists, like, you have to keep an eye out because investigators will sneak in amongst them, and they'll like start sneaking around your base, and it's like the really cheesy, like you see the guy and he's like tiptoeing, like you can't see me, and I'm like, why is that minion walking so funny? And it's like, oh, and so you have to have different types of minions that do different things. So you have minions that run the casino, and you can tell them to basically distract investigators. Mm-hmm. So, because of course James Bond always has to drink, and he has to go win at roulette and stuff like that.
Get the ladies.
Exactly. And so you have minions that are designed to be like, Mr. Bond, here, this is Miss So-and-so, or Mr. Bond, can I make you a drink?
Yeah.
And basically you just have it where your minions distract them in the casino until their resolve is exhausted, and they're like, I'll come back later, and they leave.
They're a little too drunk for this mission.
They're too drunk for this mission, so they wander home. Or you can also train like muscle. You can have like these big beefy minions that you have them fight people, because the little yellow shirts, I'm gonna call them, they because they die really fast. They can't really take much of a hit from spies.
Yeah.
So you can train muscle who can beat up the investigators. You can train scientists to research new things. So like you research a bunch of like random goofy traps and stuff like that. So like if investigators try to sneak in, they start setting off traps, and it's like cheesy stuff, like a boxing glove pops out of the wall and punches a guy. Or I had one that it was a bubble launcher. So it would shoot a bubble, and like it would capture the spy in the bubble.
Yeah.
And then I had a fan in the room that would pop up and blow them back down the hallway. It's ridiculous. And the game, like, it totally encourages you to kind of make elaborate, ridiculous, like, entrances so that it's hard for spies to get in and out.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't want it to be like, oh, here's the front door, walk in and right there's my base. Like, you want it hard to get to that.
So there's that. It's entertaining. I don't know if I really enjoyed it. I do.
Oh.
What?
You haven't really enjoyed it, or you have?
Oh no, I have really enjoyed it.
Oh, I thought you said I haven't. I was like,
no,
that's sad. You just spent like an entire day playing.
No, I really enjoy it. I think my favorite part though are the forces of justice, because there's basically like a CIA equivalent for every continent.
Okay.
And every CIA agency sort of thing has their own like super agent. And you have to be careful where you're doing your operations, because you might draw the attention of... The one that comes to mind right now is Agent X. He is like the super agent for America. Okay. And he's literally a guy with a trench coat, but then he has like a face mask that is like the Stars and Stripes,
Oh gosh, okay, yeah.
and he makes a bunch of cheesy, he's like, nothing's too hard for the Star-Spangled Planner, and stuff like that. Like, he's really cheesy. Mm-hmm. But what's funny is whenever they, like, if you draw their attention, they come and attack your base. So they might try to kill the supervillain, but most of the time they're trying to like Agent X is always planting evidence. Mm-hmm. Like he's planting fake evidence all over your base that if you see it, I can click it and tell my minions to go break it, But if other investigators find the evidence, it like increases the heat on my organization. So heat is like, are the forces of justice looking for you, sort of thing.
So the good guys are planting fake evidence in an evil base to further incriminate you? Like your base itself isn't enough?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, they do it because if the heat on my base gets big enough, instead of investigators coming to look at my base, the forces of justice will send soldiers to attack.
Okay.
So like actual, like basically they're the equivalent of like my beefy muscle minions.
Yeah.
But instead of just fighting with their fists, they have machine guns.
Interesting.
So they can take a lot of hits, and they can mow down my guys with machine guns.
Yeah.
And you don't want that to happen. So that's why you don't want investigators to come and snap a lot of photos and leave. So you either have to kill them, capture them, or don't let them get evidence. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just like, if there's already an evil base there, wouldn't that be enough to have people go there? They have to plant evidence on you.
I guess my question is, I mean, before I started making the Doomsday weapon, my question is, how do they know it's an evil base? Maybe I'm just training people to run a resort, and resorts need security, and...
Yeah, but there's like an inordinate amount of people at this place, right? Because you still have all the resort staff, and then you also have your entire secret lair. So there's something suspicious going on.
Those are maintenance workers. Those are all maintenance workers.
There's one maintenance worker per square foot of this resort.
Exactly. That way, nothing ever breaks down. Our guests are always satisfied. But no, and so it's crazy. And all the different super agents are like, they all do different things. Like, so Agent X plants evidence to try to increase the heat. There's a guy from South America who he is a saboteur.
Okay.
I don't remember his name. It was something involving blue, and he has like a blue like luchador mask.
Yeah.
And a trench coat, because they all have to have trench coats. Mm-hmm. And he comes in, and instead of trying to plant evidence, he literally sets things on fire. So he will just try to burn my base to the ground.
Yeah. So
I have to like make sure fire extinguishers are placed all over the place, so that in the event of a fire, my minions will grab them and douse the flames.
You don't have a sprinkler system in your base?
Apparently, you have to. I don't know if you've researched that or what, but no, you can't do that. Fire extinguishers are enough for evil.
I feel like fire safety codes, but that's just me.
I would say the evacuation routes are ridiculous, and they're full of like boxing gloves and poison dart launchers. So
the least of their worries.
Exactly. You better hope there's not a fire, because you won't be escaping. I'm trying to think, and then like the only other one that I encountered so far was a thief. Like, she broke into my base and started stealing my money.
Okay.
And I was like, what? I was like, why would you? How is that being a good person? How is that being a good guy? Good guy steal?
Yeah, Robin Hood, right?
I guess that makes sense. But I really liked it. I've got to at least play through to get to the end and see how the story ends. Like, I had just finished building like the Doomsday device, and it was pretty cool. I had to do like a mission where I made like fake blueprints of the Doomsday device and let the spies steal it.
Yeah.
But I got to see where that goes. Because I did get kind of annoyed, because there's a spot where your research tree gets capped, and you can only do the first half of the research before you progress the story so far.
Okay.
So I researched everything that I'm allowed to, and then now it's like, nope, progress the story. And I'm like, well, how far? I've done like 5 missions now.
Yeah.
How far do I have to make this story go before I can research like the really good booby traps?
So you're stalling at the beginning type of thing. You're not moving the story along. You're more doing the little side missions and stuff. Yeah,
I guess that could be. Maybe I'm just not operating quickly enough. It could be the issue, but but it honestly just, it seems like, since this is a management and like you send your guys out on missions sort of game, this is a wait and see type of game.
Yeah.
So that was probably my only complaint thus far. Mm-hmm. Other than that, though, I've been really pleased. It has a really cute art style. Mm-hmm. It has the biggest sense of humor. It does not take itself seriously. The secret agent from Britain, or from Europe, is totally a James Bond knockoff. It's like Agent like Jason something Steele, and I'm like, ooh, Jason Steele is breaking into my base. And it's pretty cool. I really like it. There are a bunch of different supervillains you can play. I've only played like the starter villain, whose name is Maximilian, and he's the one you see on the picture on the Steam page, where it's like the guy with the monocle who's like,
with the scar on one eye.
Yeah, that's Maximilian. He's like the evil genius. Yeah. But like, there's other ones where there's like an evil general, and there's like an ex-CIA director, and I think there's a mad scientist lady as well. Yeah. So they all have different like special abilities and different like things that they're good at, but I haven't tried the rest of them out yet. Okay. So I really liked it. I see that it's got mixed reviews on Steam, and that kind of makes me sad. Like,
I saw that too.
I really enjoy it. Maybe it's because of like what I complained about, that like, I'm managing stuff. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. But I really liked it. So, Evil Genius 2, World Domination. This is developed and published by Rebellion. So, I really liked it. What'd you play this week?
So this week I did a little something different. I didn't play a video game this week. What I did play is called Box 1, and this is a solo escape room adventure-like game, or that's how it's described on Board Game Geek. So this is a physical box. It's one box. This is designed by Neil Patrick Harris and published by Theory 11. I love puzzles and puzzle games, and I felt like this wasn't going to be something that we would be able to talk about in our board game segment, since this is a solo game puzzle. But basically it's a puzzle and riddle game. So it's described as an ever-evolving game of trivia, codes, puzzles, and discovery. And it's just, I can't go too deep into it without like spoiling the story of it, because there's a lot to it, and a lot that you don't see at first, which is something that I really enjoyed. It made me feel like I was playing a Nancy Drew type game, but in real life. Like, it had me doing things in real life, like, oh, go put something in a freezer and leave it there, and it was just like, okay, like, what's gonna happen? It was exciting, but I was very excited. It was really fun. It didn't take too long for me to get through the one part that there's a certain point where you have to wait for a specific time of day to continue the puzzles, and it had passed that time of day for me, so I was like, well, I guess I have to wait till tomorrow. And I was just sitting there and trying to, like, not think about it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to change the clock on my computer and it'll be fine. And it worked. So you can do that.
The oldest trick in the book.
Yeah, but I really like this. This is a really fun game. Like I said, there's not a lot that I could say about it without spoiling too much, but it's what it says. It's trivias, codes, puzzles, and discovery. And there's not a single inch of the box that is just box.
Yeah, like I remember the day you opened this up, because like you got it in the mail and you were super, super, super excited about it, but you didn't open it up right away.
No,
you let it sit on the table and you're like, oh, do I do it today? No, not today. Do I do it today?
Yeah, no.
Not today. But then you finally opened it up, and I kind of left you to your own devices. I know I was like, it's like, this is a puzzle thing. I enjoy a good puzzles, which is the next person, but definitely not as much as you.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's not my thing. I'll let you do it. And I just remember every time you found a new clue or you found something, you were like, Nick, look at this. Look what this does. And you like show me a thing. I'd be like, what? I was like, what is that? I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And you just kept finding things. And you spent like, I mean, it wasn't the entire day. It was like half a day, maybe.
Yeah.
Half a day. And you were just, I've never seen you so excited or smitten about finding clues and playing detective, and just you unraveled the mystery. And like I said, just the look on your face when you finished it and you were just so just happy.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing like I kind of want to, like, it sucks that I can't like go and experience it for the first time now.
Yeah, because you saw me go through it.
But at the same time, I kind of want to like go buy a copy of it and maybe give it to Jacob. You know?
Yeah. Does he like puzzles and stuff?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like that's the kind of thing. Like maybe like I said, but it's the whole thing. Like I don't know if anyone in my family enjoys puzzles like you do.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but who could I give this to vicariously enjoy it through again? You know?
Yeah.
Like I want to, because I can't give them your copy, because like once you're done with it, you're done with it, and like you like write on paper and stuff like that in there, right? So
I mean, no, they gave you a notepad where you could write down stuff.
So you could always just peel off pages.
Yeah, I pulled off the page that I wrote all my stuff on, and I'm pretty sure I put it all back where it was supposed to be. So there shouldn't be anything like obvious, but yeah, like you could just buy a new box, because yeah, there are things that you probably could tell more so now that I've done it, that there's something here type of thing. I've thought about getting it for my sister. She's always liked detective stuff and mysteries as much as I have.
Well,
so.
you should do that, like for her birthday or for Christmas or something.
Yeah,
because it's like, like when you start getting older, I'm not going to say that physical things start to matter less, because I mean, people love physical things. I love physical things, but gifting somebody like a once in a lifetime experience,
yeah,
which I feel like that's what this is. This is the kind of thing that you'll cherish this experience for the rest of your life.
It was a lot of fun. And so it was very much like an escape room type of thing. And I've always wanted to do like an escape room type thing, but I just never got around to it. And then COVID and everything happened. And so I never got to experience that. But I mean, this was a lot of fun, and getting from one puzzle to the next was like you said, it was so satisfying to like get through the things and get the clues and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully whenever we're in the days past COVID, we'll be able to go, and I'll go with you. Let's go to an escape room.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot promise that I will be helpful in the least. I'll be the one who's like, it doesn't work. I don't know what to do. And I'll go curl up in the corner, and you'll be like, thanks, Nick, leaving me to do this all by myself. And yeah, but I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be the one who's like, what does this mean? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. And yeah, so this is an amazing thing. Yeah. It was really cool.
It was so much fun. It was a very good experience, like you said. And it is a game, but not in like the normal sense of the term, I guess. It's more of a puzzle.
It is, but it's I feel like it's kind of both, you know?
Yeah.
It fits in that sort of experience. So like my question is like, what's next for the great Erica Herrera? Are we gonna buy you like one of those like legit puzzle boxes that we've seen like those YouTubers do and stuff, you know?
Well, so so the reason I got into and the reason I bought this game is because we found this YouTuber that does these really crazy elaborate like puzzles, and a lot of them, at least the ones that we watched, they were more just like trying something. Like there was the one where it was like the cabinet of like a whole bunch of little drawers, and he had to like open all the drawers to get to the end. And there wasn't anything like specific clues about what to do. It was more like, does this not work? No. Oh, this one moves a little bit. What does that do? Type of thing. But then there was one that he did where it was like this big book type thing, and then it had like a story in it, and the story was like guiding you through what you were supposed to be doing.
Okay.
Or at least giving you clues to it. I feel like the just like puzzle boxes I wouldn't enjoy as much. I like the more like, this is like a riddle. Like, what does that mean? How does that work? You know, what's the answer to that? Like that's more of what I like to do. Okay. But it is because of this guy that we found, that I found this game. I don't remember what the YouTuber was called. We'll link it in the notes. But yeah, and so I'm super. I was super excited. This was really fun for me, and I do want to find other like puzzle games, I guess, for like, I don't know what to even call this. Escape room type games.
Yeah. Something like this. We'll have to look and see if there's anything else even remotely like this.
Yeah.
This is truly a unique experience.
Yes. It was exciting.
So, Box 1 by Neil Patrick Harris and who?
And designed by Neil Patrick Harris and published by Theory 11. All right, so those were the games we played this week. A video game, Evil Genius 2, and an escape room game, Box 1.
It's a thing.
Yeah. So, Nick, you want to go ahead and kick us off on what board game we played this week?
Absolutely. So, the board game that we played this week is called Home on Lagrange. So, I found this guy by accident. For lack of a better way to put it, one of our previous podcast episodes, I was trying to tag I think it was called Grizzly Games, or it was something like that. I was trying to tag them on Instagram, and I tagged the wrong Grizzly Games.
Yeah.
And the folks were really nice enough to be like, hey, man, that's not us. You might want to fix your tag.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, then who are you? And I looked up their stuff, and they had Home on Lagrange. And I was like, this game sounds awesome. Put it in the cart. Ship it, please.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I stumbled upon this. So Home on Lagrange was designed by Jordan Anderson Highland and Callum Badger. Hopefully I said your names correctly. I really enjoyed the game. The art, which is amazing, is by Adam Alsich Boardman. And again, this was published by Grizzly Games Ltd. So, getting it in there, guys. So this game is awesome. This is a space-based development. It's a card drafting game.
Yeah.
It is set in the... Well, actually, it's not set in the future. It's basically like a futuristic past, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's like the year is... I think the instruction booklet starts off by saying, like, the year is 1970. Mm-hmm. All research points to the fact that the resources of Earth will be exhausted in the imminent future. So humanity's only option is to colonize space. And so... So this game is for 2 to 5 players. It has an estimated playtime of 20 to 50 minutes. And yeah, I mean, we had a wonderful time, honestly. Yeah. Everything from opening the box to reading the manual to just playing the game. Like, it was such a delightful experience. So the basic premise is that all players have to build a space station. We are all admirals competing to make the best space station for humanity to move into as we colonize the stars. You do this by drafting different space station modules. There's a variety of different types. There's like education, defense, recreation, infrastructure, and...
There's 6.
Lodging? Accommodation?
Accommodations. Recreation? Did you say recreation?
I'm trying to think. Accommodation, I think there's 5. I think
there's 6, isn't there?
Because it's... Well, I see it's the color. There's one for every color. Yeah. So yellow is accommodation, red is recreation, purple is education, blue is infrastructure, and green is defense. So there's 5.
Okay.
So every space station, every person's space station will consist of 4 modules. And you get a varying amount of points based on the variety of module types you have in your space station. So, like, the most points being if you have 4 different module types. But you also can get some cool bonuses if you have, like, 4 of a kind. And
yeah,
it's really cool. You every player, you draw resource cards. So there's 2 different decks. There's the space station modules deck, and then there's the resource card deck. Everybody draws resource cards, and these are a variety of different things that are all tied to either they are multicolor or they're tied to one of the colors for the modules, and they are just chocked full of sci-fi references.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. Like, I think I had one that was like a reference to Futurama, had like the Planet Express spaceship, so it was like Express Space Delivery or something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of different sci-fi references. When you draw your resource cards, all of them have a point value at the bottom. So you can spend cards to buy station modules, and the modules cost is written on the card, and so you just total up the number of points you got at the bottom of your resource cards, and that's how you buy things.
Mm-hmm.
And the cost of your modules will progressively get more and more expensive as you build more.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the first module is obviously the cheapest, then, second is a little bit more, third, fourth. The game ends once every player in the game has completed their space station. So this is another one of those ones that I thought you kind of would get a kick out of, that the players control when the game ends. Because if you want to running through all the module cards, you just reshuffle the deck and start going again.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and in the game that we played, I just rushed and I built all 4 of my modules. So you were the one that determined when the game was going to end. And because you were, and because I rushed to build my modules, you ended up winning because you were able to play more resources on your modules beforehand while I was rushing to build mine.
Just barely, but I finally won one. But yeah.
But if you had waited a few turns, then I could have played more cards on my modules and got more points. But yeah, you were the determining factor in when the game was going to end.
Yeah. So I know I've been super excited talking about this, but each player's turn is broken up into 3 stages. There is the action phase, where you can do one of, I think, 4 different actions. You can choose to buy a station module. You can choose to play a resource card from your hand onto a module.
Mm-hmm.
You can play either a black or white card, which don't affect your modules, but they will affect either the gameplay or your other players.
Mm-hmm.
So like black cards are offensive cards. So like you can, like Erica used one on me that caused a pandemic in my accommodation. So all of my cards on one module that had a human in the picture got discarded because the viral outbreak killed all of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. So there's stuff like that. Then the last one is if you don't like cards in your hand, you can choose to discard one and draw a new one.
Mm-hmm.
So those are your 4 actions. After you take an action, then you draw a card. Well, yes, you draw a card to add to your hands, and then you do what's called restock the mass driver or reload the mass driver.
Mm-hmm.
So that is when there's always, what is it? It's the number of players plus 2.
Yes.
Number of modules out on the board for people to buy from. That's the market, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of those always falls off, and then you draw to refill it at the end of your turn. So I guess conceivably you could wind up like buying like 2 modules in a turn. I don't really see that happening, but you might have enough points to buy 1. I
think you can only buy 1.
That's right, because the action just specifically say buy 1.
Yeah.
So you have one of the modules fall off, and then you reload the full thing. Everything slides down basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then you move to the next person, and that just keeps going until all the stations are done. So I really liked it. It has a really fantastic premise. It seems like we kind of rushed through our first run of it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to try it out with more players, because with 2 people, it seems like you don't get to fully utilize the like offensive capabilities of like the black cards.
Yeah.
You know, because you're kind of more scrambling to buy things and get stuff in your station, so you're not really attacking that much.
Yeah.
But with more people out there, I think we might have more of a chance to do stuff with that.
Yeah, I also feel like because it was our first playthrough, like my goal was to build my space station. And I
that
didn't,
is kind of the goal. So.
Yeah, and I didn't think about the playing cards on the modules, or like you said, or doing things to either hurt you or help me with the white cards. I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking about, okay, I need to buy my next thing. Like I'm gonna save up cards to buy the next thing instead of just using some of those in the moment to get more points in the long run.
Yeah. So. Definitely, like with the drafting, I think it's cool that they give you a variety of choices, as far as what you can choose to do. Because, like, I mean, everybody has to finish building their station for the game to end, but like, I guess there's not really any incentive to like drag the game on. Because I mean, like, yeah, you could make it go longer and possibly get more points for yourself, but in doing so, your opponents are getting more points as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, what are you doing, So you kind of have to find this nice balance between when to end it and when to keep scoring.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. And the cherry on top of this game, it comes with a book. It's a fairly thick book called The Admiral's Log.
Yeah, when we first opened this game, we were looking through the parts, and it all came very nicely packaged. It had the exact amount of little Ziploc bags that you needed for the parts, and I was so happy. And then I was like, oh my god, what is this thing? And it's just like this huge book, and I was like, okay.
It's a paperback novel, basically, and we were worried it was the instructions at first.
Yes, I was very worried about that.
It was like, if you send me basically a textbook to tell me how to play your game, maybe your game's too complicated. But no, they didn't do that.
No.
The Admiral's Log is fantastic, because basically you could have, there's a huge variety of combinations you could have to complete your station. And the Admiral's Log basically cooks up a special ending, like the outcome, like what happens to your space station based on the combination of modules you have.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have like I'm trying to think with mine, I had a education, a defense, an accommodation, and a recreation, I think is what mine had. And so, like, my space station wound up, I think they wound up, like, dying because people were unorganized. Yeah. There was no infrastructure buildings, no civil servants or anything like that to keep track of when do we need to go tighten the lug nuts on the airlocks and stuff like that, and so they eventually died. And so there is a different ending for every different possible combination of Space Station.
Yes.
Which makes me so excited to play this game again, because I want to know what other ridiculous, like, dystopian, like, you know, like, what kind of hijinks and shenanigans can my people get up to?
Yeah.
It's great. I really liked it.
No, I really like this game. It was a lot of fun. I want to see what this plays like with more people. The length of the game would be different. I feel like the combinations of the cards, so the types of cards you have in your base give you points, and so we were both trying to go for the 4 different cards because that gives you the most points.
That's the big money.
But I would be interested in seeing what the gameplay is like for getting stuff where you get 2 of the same, because if you have 2 of the same type of module, you get a special ability based on the 2 modules that you have, and each of them does different things where you can draw an additional card and then discard one, or you can play 2 resource cards on 2 different modules if you want to. And I'm interested to see how that would play in the gameplay, and would it be better to go for 2 of the same modules early so that you have that special ability that other people don't have? That's something that I really want to look into, because, like I said, I just wanted to get the most points as fast as I could this time, and it didn't work out.
I think both of us were thinking that way, but I could easily see, like, if you got the one that lets you play 2 cards, if you let you play 2 resource cards in the same turn, like, that could easily outpace the bigger bump you get for having four different types of modules.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It has the potential for a lot of variety.
Yeah,
and so I'm really excited. Like, this is probably going to go in my top games of the year.
Oh yeah.
When the year comes to the end, like, I really enjoyed this, and I think it's such a crazy thing that it was a random find based on a mistake.
I know.
I mean, and like, at least they were so cool about it. You know, they could have been angry, but they were just like, "Hey, bro, just to let you know."
Yeah.
You know, they were so nice. So, I am really excited. And this is one of those ones that this was a Kickstarter success story.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that until I Googled it today. I looked it up today. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow, Home on Lagrange. It was a Kickstarter that got successfully funded in 2019.
Yeah.
And look at him now. It's a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, really liked it. It immediately got to go put on the new swanky board game shelves. It didn't have to go live in the dark closet, you know, the island of misfit games.
Oh, my goodness.
There's actually nothing but books in there now because the books had to make room for the board games. So,
yeah.
Which is fine. But so Home on Lagrange. It's fantastic.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to play this one again. All right, so that was our board game this week, and so let's go ahead and head on over to our Kickstarter Corner. I'll go ahead and kick this one off since Nick has been going first. I'll give him a little chance to breathe after talking about Lagrange there. So my Kickstarter this week is for Solani and the Girl Who Made the Stars. So this is 2 games that revolve around myths from across the globe, and these are both myths that are related to the creation of stars and the galaxy, basically. So this is 2 different games. This is by Final Frontier Games, and this will be done on Wednesday, April 14th. So you still have some time to go look at this as of the day that this podcast is put out there.
Okay.
And so the reason I backed this is something we kind of talked about a little bit off podcast, is the whole, a game about a myth that probably isn't very well known, and I found that really interesting to make entire games about these stories. So they're both like I said, they have a similar premise. You're building constellations, and it's all revolving around stars. But where is it? So Solani is an abstract tile laying and drafting game for 1 to 4 players. You're going to be assembling constellations, to be set into the sky, and you're taking turns for two different shapes of tiles, and this is really pretty too. I love just the art of this. They're like little crosses and circles, and they tessellate, so they'll fit into each other, and that's how you're building these constellations. And this is in a double-headed snake draft, so basically it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back and forth. So the last player gets to go twice.
Okay, like Sagrada.
Yes, and I like that because it doesn't feel like you're losing out if you're the last player to go.
Yeah.
And then after 12 rounds of play, then you score your boards, and that, the person with the most points wins. And I just love the art. I love the theme behind it. And I'm really excited to try to play this game. And then the second one is The Girl Who Made the Stars. This one is a worker placement / tile laying puzzle game.
I do like worker placement.
Yes. And I also like the drafting / tile placement type games.
Kind of like Azul and stuff like that.
Azul, even Sagrada is a little bit like item placement type thing. Yeah. Castles of Burgundy is tile placement type of stuff. So this one, you're trying to also build constellations, and you're doing this with the tiles that you're pulling from the resource pool using, your workers and stuff like that. And you're trying to make different patterns to score more points and connect villages on the main game board. And that's how you're getting more items. And they're both so pretty, and I love the concepts.
So yeah, the idea of bringing these, like you said, these kind of, I don't want to call them obscure, but like these semi-obscure kind of myths to like the forefront of like the board gaming world, I think is just a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the art, like it, I hadn't seen this one on Kickstarter before, and then you're like, oh hey, I backed this, and I went and looked it up, and I was like, wow, these pieces are gorgeous. Like
yes.
the ones that tessellate and Solani and all that. Like,
yeah.
Like it's just so nice when things just fit well together, and you're just, it's like the level of satisfaction is just crazy. It's great.
But yeah, so that is Solani and The Girl Who Made the Stars. This again closes on April the 14th. You have time to go look at this.
Still a couple days.
Yes, I'm very excited. You can, the backing pledges, you can either do one or the other game, or you can do both. I did both. I'm excited. I am ready to get these and to see this actually made into a thing. I'm excited. This is by Final Frontier Games.
Cool. Super excited.
What did you kickstart this week, Nick?
So this week I kickstarted, I guess you could call it a reprint. I kickstarted a game called Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
This is the definitive edition of the Sentinels of the Multiverse game. So it's the original game as well as all of the expansions basically getting a reprint,
Uh-huh.
Sentinels of the Multiverse is one that we actually found at PAX several years ago. I remember this was one of the ones that we were walking around, and I think the guy almost like strong-armed us into the booth, like,
yeah.
Hey, you two, y'all look like you want to play a game. Come on over. And I was like, what? But, we're going. And so we were suddenly in the booth, and the guy's like running us through how to play this.
Mm-hmm.
Sentinels of the Multiverse is it's kind of it's an alternate comic book sort of deal. Like, so all of these characters, everything looks like comic book art, right? Mm-hmm. It's all about superheroes, but they're all kind of like alternate versions of like what you would think like the normal superheroes, like Superman and all that, right?
Yeah.
And this is a kind of it's a cooperative, kind of asymmetrical sort of multiplayer game where it is the players, 1 to 5 players versus the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all about, each player has a deck for a specific hero that they pick going into the game. So every hero has a certain style and power that they use for the gameplay, and they are up against a specific deck that is the villain. and there's a whole bunch of different villains. I think the base game came with like 3 or 5 of them, and then all the expansions added a whole bunch more.
Yeah.
And so you get a different experience every time because you shuffle the deck for the villain as well as your own every time you go.
Yeah.
So each villain has their own special thing. The goal is obviously stop the bad guy. Is always the main thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about like the one that comes to mind is there's a guy that's he's like an evil scientist, and so he has like a big like robot that protects him. And so the heroes have to like defeat the robot and then stop him from activating his doomsday device that happens after so many turns.
Yeah.
You know? So basically, it's every time you pick a villain, it's an interesting little scenario that the players have to collaboratively take on. And so I thought it was, I remember I thought it was a ton of fun. I remember when we took Philip to PAX, the next year, he also got strong-armed into playing this game.
Yeah.
And he bought it, like, on the spot. He bought it and took it home. And I was like, wow, okay. And so, like, I never wound up getting it because Philip had bought it.
Yeah.
And, you know, so if I ever want to just play it, I go and play with Phil. Well, guess what? There's a definitive edition coming out now. And I was like, I mean, the game and all the DLC, how could I not?
Yeah.
You know? So I really liked it. I think that the superhero shtick, you know, like I'm a classic nerd fanboy guy, you know?
Yeah.
I love all the superheroes and the space stuff and just I think it's great. And I love alternate takes on superheroes where it's, you know, they're not the normal bag of tricks. So it's just a really fun game. And their Kickstarter is pretty darn simple. You've got 2 options.
Yeah.
You can promote it and get the game, or you can promote it and get the game as well as like a whole bunch of like foil cards and card sleeves and like extras, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's just, what do you want? Do you want deluxe or super deluxe?
Yeah.
So I really liked it. I think, yeah. I mean, you played this a couple of times, right? What did you think of Heroes of the Multiverse?
Yeah, I think I've played it once or twice at least. I really like the mechanic of if your hero goes out, you're not out of the game, because in a lot of battle type games, if you die, then that's it.
Knocked out.
But for all of these heroes, they have like an alternate ability for if they are knocked down, they can still impact the game in a way, and they each have like this extra ability that they can do when they're knocked out. So I really like that. I don't care for games too much that, you know, it really just leaves someone out once they're out, and then they have to wait until the next game starts.
Yeah, very exclusionary. I think most of the games we have avoid that.
I think so.
So
hopefully. But yeah, so I really like that about this game when I've played it the few times I have. Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. I'm not as crazy about comic book heroes and stuff, but it was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was a good time. I thought it was one of those ones that it was a fun story for how we found it, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And it was pretty cool. So this is by the Kickstarter is by Greater Than Games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited. The Kickstarter ends on April 23rd, so you still got a little more than a week, maybe or a little less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To go and back the project.
Mm-hmm.
So get on if you think this sounds cool, if you are familiar with the Sentinels of the Multiverse at all, like I'd say go check it out. It's a ton of fun. Like I said, the cooperative style games. I know we've talked about that. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And so definitely something worth checking out. And I'm really excited for when I can get my hands on the copy of this.
Awesome. Well, we've covered everything we wanted to this week. That is our 2 games. Evil Genius 2 and Box 1, our board game, Home on Lagrange, and then our 2 Kickstarters, Sentinels of the Multiverse, and then Solani and the Girl Who Made the Stars. Thanks for joining us this week, and we hope to see you next week. Bye.
Toodles.
If you're digging the Unearthing Games podcast, give us a positive rating on your podcast directory, or give us a thumbs up on our YouTube channel. Share the podcast with your DM or local game shop owner or your best friend. And check out our website at unearthinggames.com. The Unearthing Games podcast is recorded in front of a live puppy audience. All borks, ruffs, jingles, and squeaks are completely original and not added in post.